Here's a tip for how to reduce the carbon footprint of your research computing without using any less energy. If you work in scientific research, there's a good chance you rely heavily on computing. This might be for modelling of diseases in epidemiology, simulations in astrophysics, training of large language models for AI, analysis of neuroimaging data, or the sequencing of genes in genomics. Computers and servers require energy to store and process data. The more your hardware is doing, the more energy it needs. But the carbon footprint of computing doesn't just rely on the amount of energy that we're using, but also on the carbon intensity of our energy source. Countries typically use a mix of energy sources, including more carbon-intensive ones like natural gas and coal, and less carbon-intensive ones like wind and solar. The mix of these different sources used by a national energy grid isn't static. It varies over time depending on the demand for energy and the availability of renewable sources. When we look at historical carbon intensity data from the UK National Energy Grid, we can see systematic patterns over the course of a week. Intensity tends to be highest around the start of the working day, at 7 to 8 am, and around the end of the working day, at 6 to 7 pm. This is because high demand on electricity during these times forces the grid to rely more on carbon-intensive energy sources. Carbon intensity is consistently lowest overnight and at the weekends, when demands on electricity are lower. Mean carbon intensity at the lowest point of the week is 37% below the peak. You can therefore emit substantially less carbon by scheduling computing to run at times of low intensity. This can be done using automated tools that make use of live carbon intensity data, like the Climate Aware Task Scheduler, or CATS. Carbon intensity also varies between and within countries, given that different regions rely differentially on more and less carbon-intensive energy sources. For example, the average carbon intensity of energy in Sweden is only 0.9% that of South Africa. You can make use of this information when choosing between cloud computing services, which may be based in more or less carbon-intensive regions. So remember, you can reduce your carbon footprint simply by adjusting the time and location of your computing. For more tips on how to reduce your computing carbon footprint, check out this paper.